Sponsored by 666bet.com.
This is Coogan Cassis for IFL TV in association with Macklin's Gym Marbella. We're in Loughton here today at the Pro SW Gym.
Correct.
With me, I've got Mickey and Amoo. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Yourself?
All good, Mick.
Good.
It's a busy period in boxing at the moment, so
Very busy.
I'm sure you are too.
Getting there.
Getting there.
Yeah.
Just wanted to really catch up with you and sort of speak to you, well, primarily about Richard Commey, the unbeaten lightweight who's, like I said, up until the Gary Buckland win had knocked out all of his opponents. But what's the situation with him at the moment, Mick?
Well, we was hoping that maybe someone would step forward and take up the challenge like Gary Buckland did, but obviously we haven't really had no takers. But in the meantime, we've been kind of looking for opponents far and wide, and got a few things in the pipeline. So we're sitting tight, and hopefully there'll be some big news next week.
I mean, like I said, it seemed for a while that not a lot of people were avoiding him, but was it hard to match him up with certain fighters?
Well, me personally, I think there's a stigma around how British boxing is, because you've got a lot of domestic fights wanting to be made, and you get a lot of people hearing that maybe Richard doesn't bring a lot to the table in regards to making money on ticket sales, which at the end of the day, well, I can understand that from a certain point of view, but at the end of the day, if you ask a boxer if he wants to be tested against the best, he would say yeah.
Where did you draw the line between a fighter, like I said, isn't perhaps because commercially as talented as he is, between the two? How do you find that?
Well, it's
comparison?
Difficult for us, obviously, because we're trying to manage and promote him and get him fights. We can only do what we've done, in a sense, getting him the Commonwealth title. Now, you would have thought that by being Commonwealth champion, there would have been suitable suitors, especially in the UK, because it is, you know what I mean, a British belt, really. You would have thought there would have been suitors, but obviously no one's come forward, which is surprising. But nevertheless, you know, we have to move on and maybe go another route. Maybe, you know what I mean, we look at maybe going through world honours and go through that way.
I mean, obviously domestically here, the lightweight division.
It's a light. I mean, there's some fantastic fighters. I mean, there's some great fighters. We was bitterly disappointed that we couldn't get the Derry Matthews fight. You know, because at the end of the day, Richard wants to test himself against the best of what the UK has got to offer. I don't see why. Yeah, I mean, why he shouldn't. He's the Commonwealth champion, and you know, domestically there are some great Anthony Crolla, Terry Flanagan, you know, even Stephen Ormond in Ireland. You know, Kevin Mitchell, Ricky Burns. The list goes on. And
Campbell and Cole as well.
Campbell and Cole. Yeah, I think Campbell and Cole already set in stone is what's going to happen with them. So I don't think anyone's going to kind of come and upset that apple cart, because it looks like they're going to be fighting in May in Hull, which I can understand from a promoter's point of view. It's a great fight, great for the city of Hull, so you can put them to one side. But as for the others, you've got to see where they're going and what they're doing, and you know, I mean, Richard's got something to offer. We believe so, and we'll see.
But is the path you're thinking of taking them away from the scene here and look elsewhere?
Well,
like
unless we get suitable offers, then I think we have to look at. I mean, we have to look at Richard's career and what's best for his career. You know, you can't sit around too long waiting for fights to happen, you know, or waiting for opponents to materialise. You have to kind of go out there, which I've been doing, going out and seeing certain people, going out and seeing certain promoters, and we're looking to move forward with that.
Oh, well, is someone trying to get in?
Yes, I think so. It's always away.
That's all right.
Could you put the, there's a door thing there on the floor. When you open the door, could you put it underneath to keep the door open? Yep. Thank you.
Your other fighter, Philip Bowes, obviously suffered his first defeat as a professional recently at the O2. Disappointing for Philip?
Very disappointing for Philip. I mean, yeah, we was all surprised at that, because he had been sparring really well leading up into the fight. So we're looking into what happened, what went wrong, and what we can do as a team to improve that and get that better and get that turned around. You know, we left there kind of numb with shock as to what happened, because we really didn't expect that. We didn't expect that performance, but obviously something wasn't right. So we're looking into that, and we're trying to put things right on that score. And hopefully Philip will be out again early next year. And we're looking to, you know, get him back on the road as quickly as possible and see where we can go from there.
Is there an overemphasis on unbeaten records with fighters? Is it too much played into it?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I think you've got to, once a fighter gets to a certain level, then I think there is an overemphasis on it. You know, they want to keep their own. You've got certain managers and promoters that want to get their fighters to get them at certain points before, you know, I mean, they really put them in with a test. But you know, there's no harm in protecting your own. There's no harm in that if it's done in the right way. Me personally, I like to see fighters fight at levels. Forget the O. You know what I mean? When you get to a certain level, then you have to let them off the leash and see whether they can step up, you know? So you get a fighter who's been fighting around the area titles, great. When he's defeated one or two, move him up to, you know what I mean, English or British level. After that, when he's done well there, win, lose or draw, you move it up to European and so forth and so forth. If he loses, you find out why he lost. Everyone loses sometimes, someplace. You know, and then you move on. You work out how you lost, why you lost, and as a team, you get together and try and put it right.
Is there an argument that some boxers skip that level and, like I said, either make that jump, skip the British level, skip the European level, don't make that sort of transition and then get exposed at whatever they're going in for?
Like now, there are, if you look at the sanctioning bodies, there are a lot of interim belts, there are a lot of international belts, intercontinental belts, you know, that are coming into play, which allows fighters to skip domestic fights in order to get world rankings. Fair enough, if you're good enough, you know, but once you get into those world rankings, then if someone's in there, then you shouldn't really be ducking them because you've skipped the domestic scene to actually get into those rankings. You know, so if you're in there and someone says, right, well, I'm ranked number 4, but that fighter's ranked number 15, fight him, and you're saying, well, I'm number 4, why should I fight number 15? Well, you're both in the same rankings. You know, so yeah, there is an argument for that.
I think a great example of this could be Judge's Eubank Jr, who in 2 fights' time could be in line for a world title shot. So,
well, I mean, again, I'm shocked personally that all 3 belts were put on the line. The fight sells itself. I think it's a great fight. I'm not going to tell you who I think wins the fight. I'm going to keep that to myself. But I think it's a great fight. But I was surprised that all Billy Joe Saunders' belts were put on the line. I felt the fight sells itself. If he put either the British or the Commonwealth on the line, would have been fair indictment of where Chris Eubank is. Yeah, because Billy has earned the right to have those belts, and if he did lose, he still has 1 or 2 belts that he can kind of go and defend. And then Chris Eubank has, if he does win, has won either the Commonwealth or the British, deservedly so, but then he still has to go through the ranks of getting into the European and beating European fighters. But from one foul stroke to be 1 fight away from a world title shot, that was a bit, yeah, I find it a bit, not to say that he wouldn't win if Chris Eubank won, but I find it, you know, you could be dumping in the deep end.
I think that it's actually a final eliminator, so whoever wins that will sort of get the shot.
I mean, it's a final eliminator. Yeah, I mean,
Korobov, so.
I mean, personally, yeah. I don't believe it should be a final eliminator. Billy Joe Saunders is Commonwealth, European and British champion, great. He can still have a couple more fights around there, do you know what I mean, to cement his claim, and then have a final eliminator against someone just as that. Chris Eubanks, as good as he is, I feel he still has to earn his stripes in that era, but from there to jump into world title fight.
To be fair to Billy Joe, he was in line to fight for the world title, and he's took this fight ahead of that. He was ranked high enough to.
No, I'm not saying that he wasn't ranked, but I still, personally, I feel that if he had another couple of fights, it wouldn't harm his progression.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know what I mean? To get to a world title.
Yeah.
You know, just because you've got a European and a British doesn't mean that you're automatically world level. You know, you could fight in and amongst that era, cut your teeth, and then go on. Because at the minute, people are saying Chris Eubank shouldn't be in the ring with Billy Joe Saunders. He hasn't earned the right to. So if that's the case, where's the common sense? And if Billy Joe wins that, it's a final eliminator. Or Chris Eubank wins that, it's a final eliminator. It doesn't make no sense.
Well, listen, 29th of November, we shall find out.
We shall see. I mean, I'll be there. I think it's going to be it's a fantastic show the Warrens have put together. I think they've done really well there. They've got young Mitchell Smith, who trains here, on the card. I know he's done a lot of tickets, so there's going to be a lot of his supporters there. You know, Tyson, you know what I mean, and his crew. You know what I mean, Billy and his crew. You know what I mean, it's going to be a fantastic show. It's going to be one that we're going to remember for a long time, I think.
I certainly hope so. All right, well, listen, Mickey. Whenever you've got some news on Richard, let us know. And
definitely, we're looking to have some news within the next week or so, and I'll let you know.
No problem.
Take care.
Cousin Cassius, Mickey Amoo here at the Pro SW Gym. Thank you very much.
The Big Fight, sponsored by 666bet.com.